Okay, let's discuss the Bitcoin scam a little bit here. Early Bitcoin whale shorted 1.1 billion right before tariffs. Now up 27 million. How did he know? A Satoshi era Bitcoin whale opened over 1.1 billion in short positions against Bitcoin and ETH just before President Donald Trump announced 100% tariffs on Chinese imports, generating an estimated 27 million in unrealized profits as markets crashed. The trader, identified by blockchain tracking firm Look On Chain as a Bitcoin OG, quote unquote, who held 86,000 Bitcoin from 2011, deposited funds into Hyperliquid starting October 9th to establish highly leveraged bets against the crypto market's top two assets. Whale doubles down 30 minutes before Trump's speech. The whale's positions include a 10x leveraged short on 6,189 Bitcoin valued at $752.9 million with a liquidation price of $130,810 and a 12x leveraged short on 81,203 Ethereum worth $353.1 million with a liquidation price of $4,589. The timing sparked widespread speculation about insider knowledge, with the trader doubling down on shorts just 30 minutes before Trump's tariff announcement that sent Bitcoin plunging from above 122,000 to briefly below 102,000. So think about what's transpiring here. Not only did this early Bitcoin whale know what the President of the United States was going to do before it happened, they knew enough about the specifics of it to be able to double down their position 30 minutes before the announcement. Meaning, whoever this person is has access to insider information on a level where they were able to understand and profit from something that the actual President of the United States was going to announce to the public at large. I mean, you have to be at a pretty high level to know that something like that is going to happen and be able to open positions against it. Of course, this sparked widespread speculation about insider knowledge. And by deduction, if this early Bitcoin whale who was around in 2011 and has almost 90,000 Bitcoin has that kind of access, well, who are these early whales? Who was Satoshi, in other words, right? If someone on that level has that kind of information and was also acquiring all of those Bitcoins early on, knowing what that was too, right? Let's not forget that these things were worthless when they started and now they are artificially priced at over $100,000. These things are not worth anything. But the insider, with the knowledge back then, picked up 86,000 of them starting in 2011, knowing what it would become, and then also had insider access to know that this was going to happen, and they were able to open short positions that would massively profit from it. And you gotta think of it in terms of market manipulation and things along those lines. It's not necessarily even that they are profiting, someone on this level. I mean, 86,000 Bitcoin is a sum of money I can't even comprehend already based on this fake price. Why would they even need to open these shorts and make more? You see what I'm saying? So these quote unquote whales, in other words, are market manipulators. They set the price based on their actions at whatever they want it to be, which is how it is artificially created in the first place. According to on-chain analyst at MLMABC, the whale closed approximately 90% of Bitcoin shorts and completely exited Ethereum positions at the bottom of the drop, pocketing between $190 million and $200 million in realized profits within a single day. $200 million in one day from this short trade. Not only did this individual have insider information of what was going to transpire, but they knew enough to know the exact bottom of the drop to exit the position with maximum profits. Meaning, this is very important, hear me on this, meaning they knew exactly what the price would start at and where it would go down to based on this announcement and where it would bounce back up from in advance. Meaning this whole move was coordinated. And someone had insider access about that move. Okay, it's going to be at this level. It's going to go down here after the announcement. It'll stay there for a little bit. Then it'll bounce back up to this price. And they timed that whole thing to perfection, starting a few weeks before the announcement was even given. The positions were accumulated and then doubled down on 30 minutes before the speech. I mean, this is someone who is at the highest levels of government or the entities behind the government orchestrating all of this. This is someone who knew something that was going to happen before it happened. This is a smoking gun in so many different ways. It's a smoking gun about what Bitcoin really is and who created that, just as much as it's a smoking gun about how fake the price of this currency is. And you can do research into this and see how the overwhelming majority of Bitcoin are held by a very small amount of wallets. It's always been this way. The price is completely artificial. I can't stress this enough. It's not worth anything. It's fake. Okay? My goodness. Now, you can get into the idea of money being a form of magic, and it's not fake if everyone believes that, just as much as that piece of paper you're holding that's $1 could be viewed as fake as well, right? Everyone believes it's real, so it's real. I mean, yes, you can get into ideas like that in terms of the fundamental basis of what money even is, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the scam that is this particular currency, that is 100% designed to normalize the idea of digital currency as that ties in to the digital infrastructure that's being built all around us, as that will tie into everything you already know about the digital IDs, the social credit scores, everything along those lines. Look on-chain data shows the trader began accumulating the short positions on October 9th by depositing 80 million USDC into Hyperliquid, followed by additional deposits totaling tens of millions throughout the week leading up to the crash. The market collapse triggered over 1.66 million liquidations in 24 hours, wiping out 19.33 billion in positions according to CoinGlass data. Although MLM ABC argued that the liquidation figure floating around is fake, the real number is likely much higher, somewhere in the $30 to $40 billion range. Satoshi era holders' trading history fuels conspiracy theories. The whale's identity traces back to 2011 when he accumulated 86,000 BTC during Bitcoin's earliest years. On-chain records show he sold 35,991 Bitcoin worth $4.43 billion starting August 20th to purchase 886,371 Ethereum valued at $4.07 billion. Think about that for a second. This trader, quote unquote, this high-level insider was so certain about what was going to transpire that they sold 4.4 billion Bitcoin starting in August in order to establish this short position. I mean, that's half of the alleged Bitcoin that this entity owned. The trader still holds 49,634 Bitcoin worth approximately 5.43 billion across 4 wallets, maintaining substantial exposure despite the aggressive shorting strategy. This entity held 10 billion in Bitcoin before all of this went down. If you have that much money, why would you even need to do something like this? What's the point? The only way you would do it is, one, you know it's a sure thing, and that's assuming it's an individual, right? No, this is an entity that is connected to the entities that created Bitcoin in the first place, and this was market manipulation designed to transfer money away from people who were long to people who know what's going to happen ahead of time. And it's the most blatant example of insider information and access that I've seen in a long time. This is so blatant. How can people not see this? What is going on here? How can they not see what a scam Bitcoin is? Community speculation intensified after crypto researcher Martoon noted the correlation between the whale's Satoshi-era origins and potential government connections, suggesting insider ties may have provided advanced knowledge of Trump's tariff announcement. You think? Do you think that's what happened? Social media erupted with accusations of market manipulation, with multiple analysts calling the sequence one of the biggest insider trades in history. Critics pointed to the precise timing of position increases just before Trump's speech, the whale's exits at exact market bottoms, and the coordinated nature of linked wallets copying similar trades within hours. Now, having explained all that, this is also a great teaching example for how controlled opposition works and how it's designed, why it exists the way it does, okay? Because there's all of this speculation swirling around Bitcoin after this insider trade. All of this speculation about the origins of Bitcoin now, insider access, who really created Bitcoin, what's going on here. So as all of that is going on, you have one of your controlled opposition assets, in this case Tucker Carlson, come out and say that the CIA invented Bitcoin. At a Turning Point USA event on October 22nd, 2025, Tucker Carlson claimed the CIA created Bitcoin and vowed never to invest in it. Now, if you actually listen to what he said, he actually gives a pretty well-rounded view of what he thinks Bitcoin originally was intended to be, what it might be now, and why he's not particularly investing in it. And of course, he's saying that he would rather invest in gold, which ties into the network that he's a part of where they really promote gold ownership. It's kind of like this alternative financial corner of the internet where they tell you that the Federal Reserve isn't what it claims to be, and then that gets you down the rabbit hole of what money is and what the system really is, and then that gets you back into gold. And do whatever you want. I'm not telling you how to handle your money. After all, JP Morgan was quoted saying gold is money, everything else is credit. But again, that's like diamonds. It's a metal that comes out of the ground. It's not worth anything at all. It's worth something because it has been inserted into the mind that actually this shiny piece of metal is worth something. We're going to call this money. Anyways, hopefully you can see what I mean here, where the controlled opposition asset takes the position that then deflects from the legitimacy of that position itself. Lots of speculation about the origins of Bitcoin. Well, now you have this character who you control, who has been discredited thoroughly in the minds of most people that follow mainstream press. Oh, that's Tucker Carlson saying that? Oh my gosh, he's a conspiracy theorist. Look at all the other insane things he promotes. He's saying that the Bitcoin was created by the CIA. Okay, I don't need to look into that any further. I know that's crazy now. Donald Trump announces the tariff on October 11th, 2025, and then Tucker Carlson says this in response to a question at the end of his appearance at a Turning Point USA event 11 days later on October 22nd, 2025, after lots of speculation was swirling around social media about, hey, what's up with Bitcoin? What's up with the origins of it? How is this even possible? How would somebody know enough to actually time this so perfectly? Immediately, everyone who was exposing the most likely true origins of Bitcoin and where it came from is lumped in to this figure who is discredited in general as a person, as a news influencer. Even if you're just a regular person telling somebody this, now this headline is all over the news as well, and anybody you were talking to about this might see it and say, oh man, that's what so-and-so was telling me about. They must be a crazy conspiracy theorist like this guy. And I say that because at the same time, on October 13th, 2025, Tucker Carlson has Alex Jones on his podcast, I guess he calls it. I don't even know what they call it. With the title, Alex Jones warns of the globalist death cult fueling the next civil war and the rise of the Antichrist. There's no one that has been more discredited in the mainstream press as it relates to all of this stuff than Alex Jones, right? So not only is Tucker Carlson discrediting himself on purpose by interviewing Alex Jones so that all of these things are linked together, you can see now how it's very calculated for him to come out and say that the origins of Bitcoin are very suspicious and he doesn't trust it, and it was probably something like the CIA that created it. That idea is instantaneously discredited through these associations. And most people are just not aware enough of this stuff to see through it all, to see what's at play here, to see that, oh, well, this thing that he said could be true, and at the same time, they're using him to discredit it. And also, talk about it in a way that won't make any sense or gives it in a way that it's a half-truth, right? Well, the premise is correct, but then all of the quote-unquote facts they use to prove it are disproven, or at least some of them are. And then it can be debunked in a way that makes the premise seem not credible. This interview took place 2 days after that tariff announcement by Donald Trump, and then they get him in the headlines saying that Bitcoin was most likely created by clandestine sources, and the whole premise then is discredited, and all of the stuff surrounding the smoking gun from this trade that was obviously inside information is kind of swept away, right? Oh, well, yeah, people like Tucker Carlson are out here saying that Bitcoin isn't what it's portrayed to be. We don't need to pay attention to that. That's what the conspiracy theorists talk about online. And of course, that's by design. They take that term conspiracy theorist and represent it. And by deduction, then in someone's mind, you are represented by these people if you are discussing something similar. So that's all I got for this one. Just a great example of how controlled opposition works and how something very real like this obvious insider trade by a early Satoshi Bitcoin whale, which raises so many questions, is obfuscated later by these entities that they also control. You control Bitcoin, you control the entities that discuss its true origins, and in that way, no one ever figures out what's really going on, based on how you paint everyone that's discussing the issue in certain ways. This is a smoking gun, okay? Bitcoin is a scam. It's not real. It has no value. You guys need to wake up to this. Those of you who have not done so already, okay? Stop promoting it. It's not going to save anybody from anything. It's going to enslave people, actually. That's its function. That's its design. All right?